All that I can see now is basically what I can hear, which is way too much for me. So the windstorm has passed, and I heard a lot of stuff banging around outside. All that I can see is my bird feeder laying on the ground. Let's go outside and see what flew. Something sounded like it was running across this. I just heard like bang, bang, bang. You know, when it was pitch black outside, I couldn't see anything. So let's go outside and see what in the heck is going on. So what I can say is 3 days ago we had a really bad windstorm and it damaged the boathouse door a little bit. So we're going to check up on that. My little garbage can didn't survive. It just separated the trash from the garbage can. That's okay. Today's windstorm, though, this morning was really loud. Worse than the one 5 days ago. And let's see. Oh boy. Ah, that broke it. Dead. Okay, well, I'll fix that later somehow. I don't see any trees that fell down. And I did notice this tree cracked, but that's possible that was like that before. I don't know, maybe that's what made the loud bang. So let's go up to the boathouse and the shed, the boathouse and the garage, see if everything's okay. Okay, well, everything's not okay. That just ripped the door off. Now I will say, it's much easier to get into here now. Don't even need the front door anymore. What I will say is the other day when the first windstorm came, it broke off like these hinges. It just like ripped it out of the wood. And I put some stuff behind. It just pushed it away. And I guess this windstorm finished it off, but that's okay because at the end of the day, I knew when I moved in here, I was gonna have to get, you know, put new doors on there because they weren't the best. I don't like the sound of any of that. Well, but it's still windy outside, and I think it's the branches hitting the top. But anyhow, I'm not really disappointed with this because Vanessa, you know, my friend was going to come over and we were going to do this next summer and put on new doors. But, you know, nobody's going to come and take anything. And yes, we did lose electricity for about 3 hours this morning. I went out to the grocery store and did some shopping, called my boss and said, I can't work right now, internet's out. And even though it's in the upper 30s today, without the heat, the house did get cold fairly quickly. Not terrible, it was 58 degrees and after 3 hours. And that's really great it happened, because at first you panic, because you know, you just panic. It's the first time it happened when you're in the woods. And Then it made me think about the pellet stove I want to get next year, which I still want to get that. But I also thought, yes, it makes more sense to get a wood stove. I get it. If the electricity goes out, the wood stove's great. The problem with the wood stoves are it is a little more difficult to get the insurance company to cover the house if you have a wood stove. So I would have to speak to my insurance company to see if they would allow that, because that was one of the first questions they asked. Do you have a wood stove? And usually the first questions are the ones that they're concerned about the most. But even if I got the wood stove, I would put it in the living room. I still want one of those pellet stoves, even a miniature pellet stove. They're like $230. They're really small for one small room. And I would put that in the bedroom for one reason, because if I want to sleep one day with my door closed, I can then heat up the bedroom. Right now, because the Toyo stove's in the living room, if I close my bedroom door, my bedroom drops to about 52 degrees, when I wake up in the morning. And it's not as bad as it sounds because you're under the sheets. And by the time you get up, you go in the living room immediately, you're back in the, 68 degree temperature. So it's not bad, but it's just something I was thinking about. It definitely made me think twice about a wood stove. And the last thing I'll say about the windstorm is they're not scary, but they're getting scarier because they're getting stronger. And I don't feel nervous inside the house, but I think everybody understands when you're, inside and it's pitch black outside and you hear a lot of banging around, you're concerned, first of all, that trees are falling. If a tree fell on the car, if a tree fell on, part of the house, or even, ruin the roof. I don't have a lot of big trees right near the house, but even these, like behind me, these thin trees, they can still do some damage. And yes, I've got the house insured, but nobody wants to go through that process of, filing a claim. And then eventually the insurance company says, we don't want you anymore. And then I'm living in a house that nobody wants to insure. And then I write to you guys and say, does anyone have an extra bedroom for me because I need someplace to sleep? So it all causes a bunch of problems. It's not bad. Again, this was the worst windstorm I've ever had here. And I'm sure there's going to be worse ones in the future. But they are also kind of a little fun. So I'll admit, it's fun to get a little scared, but as long as nothing happens.